Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Speaker Brains with the most unprofessional music critics on the internet, Travis, Zach, and Josh. What up, everybody?
Welcome to a very special first listen.
Yeah, it's me and John going to
You don't get to see us this time.
Yeah, we're going to fanboy out a little special podcast to talk about the new Gorillaz album, Song Machine Volume 1, Strange Times. You know, it would be called Strange Times
Yeah.
in 2020.
Yeah. I mean, they already did Demon Days. That title's off the table.
Yeah. So, I remember early this year when they dropped Momentary Bliss, and I fucking absolutely love that song.
Yeah, I remember that you and I have been like discussing this Song Machine project off and on all year.
Yeah.
Like those of you who have listened to our Speaker Brains podcast that we've done will doubtlessly have heard us chattering about Gorillaz and specifically Song Machine at various points throughout. And I remember you saying that it was reminding you of old Gorillaz, but I think that was when it was just Desolate and Momentary Bliss.
Yeah. Because we did a little review for... I think we did a little review for Momentary Bliss, and I mentioned that I wanted to review each individual song as it came out, and then we just never did. And because I didn't know at this point, I was like, what is it, just going to be a couple songs and then that's it? I was like, are they going to do a bunch of songs and then eventually put them on an album? And I'm glad that they just went ahead and did that. They just did a bunch of songs, released them all like every month or so, and then piled them all together on a physical fucking CD. And they kind of did the Humans thing where the standard version, you know, it's just like the main tracks that you saw pop up on the YouTube, but then the deluxe version has a second CD with 6 extra tracks and the song How Far featuring Tony Allen, who is a legend.
And who sadly passed away.
Yeah,
this year.
Seriously, and the dude's a fucking legend in the whole Afro rock scene, the whole Afro beat scene, and fucking love the shit out of the dude. He also played drums on both Good, the Bad, and the Queen albums, and which finally, this year I finally got the newest. Good, the Bad, and the Queen, and fucking love the shit out of that album.
Yeah, that wound up being my album of the year for 2018.
I can feel that.
We are big Damon Albarn fans in this podcast.
on this here podcast. My copy finally came in yesterday. Amazon's kind of getting a little slow with pre-orders again. Early this year when the COVID hit, Amazon was running a little crazy, and they kind of picked back up and shit was coming in on time, but now it's kind of slowing down a little bit again. I mean, I got both versions of the new Mr. Bungle pre-ordered, which comes out this Friday, but the standard release is scheduled to be here next Tuesday, while the deluxe version is scheduled to be here on the 13th of next month.
Huh.
Yeah. So hopefully that album fucking has auto rip, so I can at least hear it, on fucking release.
Well, it's like I said, it's weird because it's like it auto-ripped fine for me, but I will say this, it did not auto-rip with the bonus tracks.
Weird.
So I actually, to tell you the truth, and I remember this came up after we'd wrapped the podcast yesterday, I had no idea there was going to be 2 discs.
Oh yeah, damn. So that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, I literally just ordered this because you know me, I'm a physical media guy. I want to be able to hold the object in my hands and manipulate it.
Yeah, it's got to go with the other ones. Like it's
on my shelves.
Got to go with its brother and sisters.
But yeah,
so
big spoilers. I really liked the album.
Yeah, so do I. It is. It's pretty phenomenal. Now, like we were saying just a second ago, that Desolate and especially Momentary Bliss reminded us of old Gorillaz. A lot of the other album kind of just sounds like Gorillaz in the past 10 years.
The rest of the album, there's not a huge amount of reviews of this yet, which is kind of interesting. But almost every review was mentioning something that I myself was thinking the first time I listened to it on day one, which is, this reminds me a lot of Plastic Beach.
Yes, that's one that I was gonna come up to. Maybe not as poppy as some of the songs, but I've noticed, especially from with Humans and the Now, Damon Albarn uses a lot of the same vocal effects for 2D that he used on Plastic Beach, and there's a lot of the same sounds making some of the music.
I've been saying this for a while now, that, there's I think I probably said this on our Gorillaz Retro, there's 2 eras of Gorillaz. Even though the second era has now lasted years longer than the first one. There's when they were using hip-hop producers, and there's at this point, 5 albums Damon Albarn has self-produced.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I hate to say it because, we love Damon Albarn here, but like, the albums he has self-produced all kind of sound the same. There is a much more of a continuity between Gorillaz than there was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, like when you hear, especially because when you hear the first album, it sounds very similar to all the other projects that Dan the Automator's a part to. Like there's a lot of stuff that sounds like Handsome Boy Modeling School. There's a lot that sounds like Dr. Octagon.
Yeah.
And then when you get to Demon Days, that sounds very much like a Danger Mouse project. I mean, a lot of it does sound like some Gnarls Barkley or even a bit of that. And this is like before Danger Mouse was like a really well-known guy. This was like right when he was starting to break out as a producer. Because at this point, I only really know of Danger Doom. And there's bits of Demon Days that remind me of Danger Doom. And even some of the later Danger Mouse projects kind of have that Demon Days vibe. Like when you hear Modern Guilt from Beck, like you can tell it's fucking Danger Mouse. But
yeah, there's
when you get
little
the plastic
touches.
Yeah. And when you get to Plastic Beach, whole new sound. But then when you get to The Fall, sounds like Plastic Beach Light. Then you get to Humans, sounds like Plastic Beach with a shitload of money. And then you get to the Now, sounds like, Plastic Beach Light again. Like they all kind of have that. It's like these are the Albarn albums.
Exactly. It's like there's a common thread running through everything that they've done since Plastic Beach that wasn't necessarily running through everything, the two albums that came before it. And this one, I really, it does sound like Plastic Beach in a lot of ways. It reminded me of Plastic Beach a lot of ways, but it was this album was doing stuff that, like, in some cases they haven't even really done since Plastic Beach. Like, I forget which is it. I think is it Desolate. There's a track or two here that heavily messes with dub.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, that's the first time in a long time I've heard some dub on a Gorillaz track.
Yeah, seriously. And, another thing I like about is that I don't know who most of these artists are, which is a common thing with Gorillaz for me. But then the dude's got some legends on here. Not only Tony Allen, but we have fucking Peter Hook from goddamn Joy Division and New Order on here. We have Robert Smith from the fucking Cure. We've got a modern legend, Beck, obviously. Elton fucking John is on here. And so I went and I listened to a lot of these artists on their own earlier this morning because I'm like, I want to know what these guys are more about. And I think there's a few that I like, but I think one of the only ones that I think I'm going to follow is probably Slaves from Momentary Bliss. Like, those fucking guys rock.
Yeah, like, I didn't know that, like, that was the Joy Division dude. I forgot about that somehow. Is he also one of the Joy Division dudes who formed New Order?
Yeah, he's their the bass player, and you can tell that's him playing bass on the track too, which I enjoy.
Because when it got to what was that, Aries?
Yeah,
I was like, wow, it's been a long time since Damon Albarn did something this, like, rock.
Yeah, that's the same vibe that I had with Momentary Bliss. When I first heard it, I was like, damn, dude, this is the first time I've heard a guitar in a Gorillaz song in ages. At least a guitar that I can tell it's a guitar.
Yeah, it's like, pretty much, like, most of the collabs turned out pretty well.
Yeah,
I think. There's a couple I don't love, but, like,
there's a couple I can't stand.
Like, and I mentioned this yesterday, I like Chalk Tablet Towers, but, like, the slight complaint there is I'm a huge St. Vincent fan. St. Vincent is an amazing guitarist,
Yeah.
I don't know why, I get that, like, crazy guitar solos don't fit in Gorillaz tracks, but she's never really been a crazy guitar solo person anyway. Just a little bit of weird noise, and that would have been all right.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like some artists, it's like they're utilizing their talents, but then other artists, it's like, why are you even there? For instance, on Aries, it says featuring Peter Hook and Georgia. I went and looked at some Georgia music, and she's decent. She's got 2 albums. The first one was in 2015, and it sounds like 2015 music. There's like some post-dubsteppy kind of stuff on there, and she sings.
Oh.
She's got a decent voice. And she released one this year that sounds very fucking 2020 because I think too many artists are jumping on the let's sound like the 80s bandwagon. And to me that was cool just a couple years ago. But now I'm getting a
That
little...
bandwagon's been going for so long.
Yeah, like in the underground with like the new synthwave guys and shit, I dig it, but now I'm kind of getting... Everything's trying to sound like the fucking Stranger Things theme song, and it's getting a little annoying.
Yeah, that stuff's been going on. I've been hearing it since like 2013. Like, mainstream dudes have been doing it since around the time that Carly Rae Jepsen put out Emotion.
Yeah, I've only heard her little "Call Me Maybe" song.
Well, that's the
her decent cover of the Full House theme.
And that's the thing about, like, I'm not a Carly Rae Jepsen fan, like, but like she's been bizarrely influential, and like a lot of music nerds like love her stuff. But whenever you try to explain that to people, they're like, "The Call Me Maybe girl?"
Right. But anyway, the Georgia girl is just, why are you even here? Because you don't hear a female on the track. It turns out all she did was drums and percussion, and I'm like, well, I mean, I hear drum programming.
What's like, there were a couple times on this album where I saw the Gorillaz featuring an artist and I couldn't figure out where they were there, and I was thinking to myself, almost 20 years ago, you guys had Tina Weymouth on your album and didn't feature her. Like, to the extent that, like, until we did that Gorillaz podcast, I had no idea that Tina Weymouth was even on that first Gorillaz album.
Yeah, so it boggles my mind. It's like, why even have the person on here if you're not going to necessarily use their talents? It's like, oh, she showed up at the studio one day. Oh, you wanna push a couple buttons on my synth here?
I think there's a couple of songs I wasn't as big into. The only part on this album I was ever like really, really annoyed is that whiny R&B dude doing his thing before Elton John comes on the Pink Phantom.
Yeah, let's do a track by track.
Sure.
And we'll fucking get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus fuck. So, we start off with Strange Times featuring Robert Smith. Yeah, with a fucking Z. And it's featuring Robert Smith, which is cool. Robert Smith is... I got a ton of Cure albums, and I like some of the... I'm not like loving every album all the way through. But I like songs off of all the albums. But, yeah, I dig it. It's a cool little start. I
really liked it too.
I like the music on it, and the video is really cool. That's another thing I do like about this project is like they're giving us little music videos for most of the songs, and it's weird seeing Robert Smith as a moon.
Yeah. Well, I like the sort of keyboard loops are really cool on this track. The like crazy piano that introduces the song, I dig that. Robert Smith, I know 80s Cure. I don't know where the Cure went after the 80s,
Yeah.
So I have no idea what he's up to aside from the fact that he and Morrissey are still feuding.
Seriously. I mean, would you say that Robert Smith is the inventor of that go-to goth singing style that
He's got to be one of the inventors.
Yeah, because easily you could say him or Morrissey, because everyone... He's definitely the one who made it popular. Yeah, because everyone tries to go for that vocal style when they do goth music.
Morrissey, I always thought it was a little... Morrissey has a little bit of a different touch, because Morrissey Morrissey is more like a crooner.
Yeah, like, I like Morrissey's
Singing about
voice
depression.
more. I do like Morrissey's voice more. That like with that newest AFI album a couple years ago, and even the Dream Car album with Davey Havok on there. Is that his name, Davey Havok? Anyway,
I think so.
and it's like I'm like, damn, he is really upping his Morrissey game on here.
And it's like, oh man, why couldn't you do this on the those old AFI albums as opposed to the
But yeah, I totally dig Strange Times. Really good track.
it's a really good opening track.
Yeah.
You know?
Funny enough is a lot of the songs that were released more recent are at the beginning of the album, whereas like the first two tracks that were released are at the very end.
Yeah, I kind of liked that.
Yeah, because Momentary Bliss, spoilers, #1 favorite song on the whole album. So I'm cool with it being at the end. So like, well, at least on disc 1 it ends and it's like, boom, we're fucking ending on a badass little punk jam.
Yeah. So track 2.
Valley of the Pagans with
This
Beck.
is the one that has Beck. And like I was saying to you yesterday, this is the best Beck I have heard in since the late 2000s.
Like, I fucking love this track. Beck is really fun. The music's really fun. And the sad thing is like, I don't know much Beck after Modern Guilt. So I don't know how sort of bad he winds up getting. And I know a lot of people are saying that, his stuff is a bit subpar on some of this newer shit, but...
Well, he did Morning Phase, and Morning Phase was his that was his...
The Sea Change sequel.
Sea Change 2. And
apparently people loved it.
That unexpectedly won a Grammy.
Yeah, that's when, goddamn, Beyonce had the best damn album of the year.
Yeah. Well, you could tell, like, even Beck was like, why did you give me a Grammy?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I'm glad Beck got a Grammy, but, like, Beyonce probably had the better album that year.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't hate Morning Phase, but it is literally just Sea Change 2, not quite as good. You know?
Yeah. So
then Colors is kind of like, that's an interesting album. I like it on paper, but I haven't ever really made up my mind about it. It's kind of like, it's half of it's trying to get back to like the Odelay, Gaillero, Information, Midnight Vultures.
So I think too, it's with Odelay, man, it's the fucking Dust Brothers, man.
It really is.
And,
it really is.
And didn't they come back for the Information?
I believe they came back for Gaillero. I think the Information was with just Beck and Nigel Goodrich.
And I don't know who produced Midnight Vultures, but that one's fucking fantastic too.
I think he might have self-produced that with another collaborator.
But this is a great, and I never thought Beck would be on a Gorillaz song.
It's a really obvious connection to make. Like it was like when I was buying all the MIA albums last summer, I was like, this has a really similar vibe to Gorillaz. I wondered why they've never collaborated, and then I looked into it and I saw that MIA is best friends with Damon's ex, and I was like,
yeah, that tripped me out. Basically, MIA probably wouldn't be a recording artist if it wasn't for the Elastica chick.
Yeah, Justine Frischman, I think is.
Yeah, which actually, funny enough, I finally got that second and last Elastica album this year. That's just good as fuck.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
They got a really good cover of that Da 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 song at the end. I'm like, all right.
Okay, so we both like the Backtrack, and then there's the Lost Chord featuring Lee John, and I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who a Lee John is either, but I like the song. Like, to me, things are good at this point. Apparently he had 3 UK top 10 hits in the 80s. But no clue who this guy is. But the song is good. It's a little slower.
Like I said, it reminds me of the deep cuts on Plastic Beach.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I like we were both saying that Damon Albarn is a little more front and center this time around.
Yeah, there's a lot more Damon Albarn. If anybody can compare this to Humans by saying there's too many collabs, well, at least Damon Albarn is a heavy presence as well. Kind of like he was on Plastic Beach, because that had a ton of collabs as well, but at least there's a lot more 2D on it, because there's whole sequences of tracks on Humans where, like, Damon Albarn is not heard.
Yeah, and if you hear him, he comes in, like,
at the end or something, or just...
or in the middle, and he'd, like, he's doing his, like, I'm gonna hide behind a vocal effect and be really low in the mix.
Yeah.
Thing.
Like, this feels more like his heart's in it, more than it felt like it was with Humans.
Yeah. And then Pac-Man, this has...
Schoolboy Q. I keep wanting to say Schooly D.
That would be something.
Wouldn't it?
That would be something.
And I don't know who Schoolboy Q is, but I think his performance on this song is great.
Yeah, I really like his stuff, what he's saying here. And I don't know, like you said, I don't really have that good of an idea who this guy is. Other than, like, I remember he was a relatively hot act maybe 5 years ago. I don't know that he's really gone anywhere since.
Huh.
But because I remember hearing that name a lot from my friends who were into the hip-hop scene. And then it was one of the things where he just kind of dropped off the face of the earth, and I never heard anything else. But he does a really good job on here.
Yeah, his fucking flow on here reminds me of earlier Gorillaz tracks to feature a hip-hop artist. Even maybe in the Demon Days kind of vibe. Like, he's one that I'm like, I'm gonna probably have to... I didn't check out any of his stuff. Him and Lee John I didn't go and listen to before this little podcast, but he's one that I'm like, I might have to check out some of his stuff, because I'm interested in the way he sounds. But Pac-Man is another fucking banger for me. I really fucking dig Pac-Man.
Yeah, I really liked that too. That was something I was noticing, is that there is a lot more of a almost like nostalgia for earlier Gorillaz albums.
Yeah?
That they're tapping into on this album. Like, it feels like they were deliberately trying to be a little closer to, I guess, classic Gorillaz than the more recent stuff. Although it still, it feels weird that you can call those early albums classic now.
Yeah, because so right now I can say the first two are classics, because the first one, impeccable debut album, and the second one, like I mentioned on the Fleet Foxes podcast, completely perfect and flawless sophomore album.
Yeah.
Whereas the third one of the trilogy is always the slight disappointment.
Yeah, and it's like it has a lot of great tracks, and there's a lot of I'll put it this way: I understand why it's some people's favorite. You know, because we'll get to that when we do the wrap up closing thoughts on the album.
True.
But yeah, Chalk Tablet Towers. This one, I said, the feature's a little. It's it's kind of like Lady Gaga getting Elton John and then just auto-tuning him so he sounds like every other dude.
Yeah. And sadly, I don't know much St. Vincent at all. And she's somebody I need to check out. But as someone who is not familiar with her stuff, this song is not convincing me. She doesn't even get a lyric, does she? It's just kind of just kind of shit. Man,
she's just doing backing vocals.
Just what a waste.
And it's like, damn, this is, like I said, she could have done some guitar stuff. They could have given her a little bit to sing, but like.
And it's the first song on this album where I'm kind of not all the way into it.
Yeah, I get that. Like, but like, I'm enjoying the vibe. Like, I like it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I like the synthy stuff. It reminds me a lot of, like, Plastic Beach, but it also reminds me of the stuff I liked on Humans.
Yeah. Like, it's not a bad song, but it's the first time I'm kind of seeing some cracks in the window, for me at least. Because I'm like, number one, I'm like, you wasted somebody who's apparently really good, and to me, it's just kind of an average kind of track. Like, there's nothing that really gives me any kind of wow factor.
Yeah, I get that. And speaking of cracks, the Pink Phantom.
The Pink Phantom would be pretty good.
Yeah, it would.
If not for whoever the fuck a Six-Lack is.
Six-Lack?
What the fuck? Like, this guy ruins Elton John. I mean, I don't like the auto-tune singing hip-hop shit. I cannot fucking stand it.
I like it if it's coming from somebody who knows what they're doing. This doesn't sound like that.
It is not fucking good.
No.
It is one of the worst really performances on this album. And sadly, on a track that has a fucking legend on it, who is kind of just doing, who isn't really even doing anything amazing. I mean, I question. I'm sure that's probably Elton John playing the piano bit.
Yeah,
like it better be, you know, because I know Albarn plays piano, but if you're gonna have Elton John, you better let the man sing and play fucking piano. I don't give a shit if you got Beethoven in the fucking room, you know. Let Elton John fucking play the goddamn piano. So
I don't think Albarn's that good.
Yeah, he's not great. I mean, he's just good enough, you know. He can make it do what he wants it to do. And
he can do chords enough to write some keyboard pop.
Yeah.
You know. So but I don't think he can do that kind of intro stuff.
And Elton John's voice, not bad. I mean, it's just old Elton John. It's cool that people still respect the dude enough to put him on shit. And it's cool that this year we got 2 Elton John collabs with 2 artists we really like. One's kind of lame and one could be good, but they fuck it up.
Yeah, and it's like the first time I listened to this album, I was a little annoyed by Six-Lack.
I can't.
And then the second time yesterday, I was really annoyed. Like, I was, like, the thing about that, like, that, because I don't even know if it's hip-hop, because I don't know anything about Six Lack. I love that we're just calling him Six Lack.
Yeah,
so I don't know how you say his name. But, yeah,
more like X-Lack.
That style of whiny R&B that came around last decade, of where it's male R&B dudes with really high and whiny voices, and like Frank Ocean started that stuff, but like I actually dig some Frank Ocean, so
I just hate it. Oh God.
I think the auto-tune is what really ruins it for me, because it's like I think I could probably tolerate it if it was just vocals, but like something about the auto-tuned whiny R&B is just
the worst.
Yeah, it's like it's like we've said multiple times, there's a good way and a bad way to use auto-tune, and I can tolerate some auto-tune if I think it's being used well, and I don't think it was being used well here.
Yeah, like take for instance, the song, I think, with Pop Can or whoever the fuck on Humans.
Yeah.
There's a bit of auto-tune on his voice, but I think it works. It fits this sort of dubbiness of that track. That All My Life, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Totally works for me. But when it's done like this, one example, I don't know the guy's name, but Zach, his girlfriend Melissa, she's got a cousin or something, somebody she's related to, some fucking white boy doing that awful auto-tune R&B shit, and it is horrible. And the song is like, talk to me baby, talk to me baby, talk to me baby, talk to me baby. I fucking hate it so fucking much. I can't stand it. It is some of the worst shit. And I'm not talking about him. I mean, he sucks. But just that style of doing shit alone annoys me so fucking much. And to do it on a track with a goddamn legend who I'm not here to listen to Six Lack. I'm here to fucking hear Elton John, motherfucker. And you're gonna throw this dude on there? Why? Like, it's almost like, oh, we got Elton John here, but we need somebody that the kids will like. You know what I mean? Like, Elton John is old news.
Well, I will say this, like, that is interesting about this album. This is the first Gorillaz album in a long time where it felt like Damon Albarn didn't really care about that.
It's like, yeah, let's just throw some people together.
Like the collabs on this album feel more like people Damon Albarn likes than like, cause like we talked about this when we did the retro, but one of the biggest problems with Humans was that Damon Albarn, it felt very much like Damon Albarn was trying to be down with the kids. He was trying to, I think there was a news article, and we spent like 5 minutes laughing at this, that said some of it was him trying to impress his teenage daughter.
Yeah.
But like Humans very much felt like that, and it felt like he was doing that, and it was like he didn't quite know what he was doing at times. I don't get that vibe from this.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times it feels like he's working on a track and then somebody just happened to walk by the studio.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're a cool guy. You want to be on this? But yeah, I get the vibe of like, especially with Momentary Bliss, I can believe that Damon Albarn rocked some slaves.
Yeah, like, and I mean, moving on to the next track, which is Aries, you know Damon Albarn can get down to some New Order.
Yeah, but Pink Phantom probably the worst track on the entire thing.
Probably, yeah. I can agree with that.
One that, even though Elton John and the music is fine, I cannot listen to this song. It is a definite skipper. It is bad to me. That fucking guy ruins the entire song.
And it's not like it's not like the strongest song to begin with, but like
yeah.
I get it. You don't, Elton John is not, we're not looking at the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road Elton John or All the Young Girls Love Alice Elton John anymore. It's you get Elton John in 2020. You're looking for the like a candle in the wind Elton John.
It's like, can you feel the love tonight?
Exactly. Like you're going for.
You're not getting Crocodile Rock.
That Elton John.
You're getting Lion King. You're not getting Crocodile Rock.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of Elton John, though, have you seen the movie Rocket Man?
I have not.
Fucking phenomenal. Oh my god. Probably the best music biopic I've ever seen in my life.
I'll have to watch that because that awful Queen biopic that came out around the same time kind of turned me off.
You know what's funny is I still haven't seen the Queen one, but when it came out, people were praising it. But then, like, barely a month later, everyone just hates it. So I'm like, what's up with this fucking movie? I still haven't seen it, but
it was just a really samey rock biopic.
It just does all the tropes.
Does all the tropes, and they even they had the audacity to have a scene where the band are trying to sell Bohemian Rhapsody to the studio executives, and they're like, Queen, this is highly improper. We cannot put out a song that's 5 minutes long. And it's like, dude, this was 1970. What was it? 1976. People were putting out 6 and 7 minute singles for the last 4 years.
It is a funny little scene though. But they show the whole thing in the trailer.
Yeah, I hate when movies do that now.
Yeah, but bro, fucking Rocket Man. No other biopic is like Rocket Man. Rocket Man is how I think all biopics should be, where this movie is larger than life for a motherfucker that was larger than life. It is phenomenal. I enjoyed every fucking minute of it. It's half musical, but fantasy. It's it is a fucking great ass movie.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to see it.
Yeah, I fucking loved every minute of it. I was like, thank you. Fuck. So
now we have Aries featuring, as we said earlier, Peter Hook and Georgia. Whoever Georgia is.
Yeah, it's another one. It's like, oh, who's Georgia? And yeah, I can't get into her stuff. I listened to her, about an hour ago and was like, eh. But yeah, why is she even here? She's really doing nothing. But Peter Hook is jamming on the bass. The song I really like. It's very 80s, but 80s in a Plastic Beach kind of sense.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely this could easily if you told me that this was supposed to be a sequel album to Plastic Beach, it could fit.
And what's funny is it almost does. Even the whole project has a Plastic Beach feel to it, where it's much more involved as opposed to the albums in between these two, where Plastic Beach was supposed to be this big story and, you know, almost a movie and stuff, and that they're kind of doing that here, but they're using YouTube, and it almost feels like they're sort of accomplishing what they wanted to accomplish with Plastic Beach, but kind of didn't.
Yeah, like I kind of get that vibe too. But again, more in the closing thoughts. But yeah, I really liked Aries. I thought it was one of the best tracks on the album. Like I said, I like that, you know, this is the most rock thing I've heard Damon Albarn do in a really long time, and especially to go back to like 80s post-punkiness, which Blur always had a little bit of.
Yeah.
You know, there was always a little bit of that in Blur, especially like some of the deep cuts on those earlier Blur albums. Like, there's some stuff on Park Life where you're like, oh yeah, no, these dudes love the Smiths and Joy Division and like
Susie
New
and the
Order.
Banshees.
Yeah, and Susie and the Banshees. But yeah, really enjoyed it.
And so then we get to Friday the 13th. Probably
I do not remember this track.
it is probably my second least favorite. It's another one where this Octavian guy.
I remember this one now.
A little too much auto-tune. Not as bad as Six Lack, but the auto-tune is just distracting me from everything else. But that's sadly the only thing I so far. I've listened to this album all the way through twice, and I had just turned it off right before we started this, and it's I don't remember nothing but that guy not being very good.
See, I don't even remember that guy. That's the thing. Until I put it on again, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the other one that has the sweet dub instrumental.
Yeah, and it's like, damn. Fucking.
Yeah, he does. The Octavian dude, who I have no idea who Octavian is. He doesn't bother me that much on here.
Yeah, he doesn't bother me like Six Lack did, but it's another one where it's like, yeah, there's some auto-tune here. It's distracting me a little bit, but music-wise, there's some decent stuff, but it's, again, probably one of my second least favorite track.
Like, to me, it's like, I can take that auto-tune because it's not overdone, and it's like, it's just that style of hip-hop that, like, was super, super popular throughout the second half of the 2010s, I think is kind of starting to go away now.
I hope so.
And it's just a trope of the genre, and it's like, he doesn't do anything I hate, so I can accept it, but I don't really remember him that much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because, I mean, it's like, that's all I'm hearing is the auto-tune. I'm not really hearing his performance. And that annoys me a little bit, because it's like, damn, you know, with you disguising your voice a little bit like this, I'm not actually hearing you. But, I mean, there's motherfuckers that use vocal filters all the time on shit, and it adds a cool factor, you know?
Yeah, it's like, you get something like the second Vampire Weekend album, where I don't know if they're using auto-tune, but he's using vocal filters all over that album. But yeah, and then you get, and this kind of tripped me out when I heard it, Dead Butterflies, which features the comeback of one of the dudes from White Flag on Plastic Beach, I think.
Kano.
Yes.
Kano. Really though? Is he
I think so. Let me look it up, because I want to say he was one of the dudes on White Flag, and I remember that because I didn't like the rapping on White Flag very much. Let me look at the track listing. I think it's the same guy.
Yeah, it is. It is the same guy. Okay.
And I gotta say, he is a lot better here than he is on Plastic Beach.
Oh shit! So that's like the first time we get a double collab that's not De La Soul.
Or Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, or Snoop Dogg, who wasted like a motherfucker on the first collab.
Redeemed himself a little bit.
Yeah, the now. But I like Dead Butterflies though. I like that one a lot. With,
yeah, I do too.
Is that the one that starts with the jazzy piano?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a pretty good track.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
And the Kano dude, I like fine on there. And Roxanne Aries. I think she's just doing that background vocal shit, which is fine. But yeah, decent ass little track. Then we get to Desolate extended version featuring Fatumata Diawara. I hate reading things that's not English.
Apologies to everybody whose names we have butchered in this podcast. Please contribute to our charity for those with names butchered by people from Alabama.
My name isn't Kano, it's Kana.
My name's not Beck, it's Beak.
Oh shit. My name isn't Schoolboy Q, it's Shulabai. Alright. Anyway, Desolate is another favorite. Very islandy, very dubby kind of. I like the horns that kind of come in.
Could almost fit in on the first Gorillaz album.
Yeah, Desolate is pretty close to that older Gorillaz style.
Or definitely Demon Days, at least.
Yeah, seriously.
Definitely Demon Days.
I really fucking dig it. And I had to. Apparently, Desolate is French for sorry. I had to look that up.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm not even gonna. I'm glad you did the honors. I'm not even gonna attempt. Well, actually, maybe I will. I think Fatoumata Diawara does a really good job with the backing vocals here. Now let's see who she is.
She's like
she's a Malian actress
Yeah.
and singer-songwriter. Okay. Well, Damon Albarn did do if I remember correctly, it's one of his more obscure things. He did supervise a compilation of Malian music.
He did.
In the 90s or super early 2000s, and it was one of the first things he did away from Blur, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I really highly enjoyed Desolate. It was one of the best things on the album.
Yeah, definitely. And so, we get to my favorite track, Momentary Bliss, featuring, how do you say that guy's name?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess Slow Thigh.
Slow Thigh.
Unless it's pronounced in some other way and I just totally butchered it. In which
Yo
case
man, my name ain't Slow Thigh, it's Slothy.
It could be.
And also featuring Slaves, who, if you're gonna check out Slaves on YouTube, apparently there's two bands called Slaves.
Huh.
And the first one I clicked on was a song called Cursed. And it was some straight up garbage. It has a generic fucking rock sound, but then goes into that white boy whiny kind of hip hoppy fucking garbage. It sounds very much like that newest Linkin Park shit that dropped before he died.
Oh, God.
And I was like, that's these fucking guys? I was like, this is fucking garbage. And then I looked again and I saw the channel of the actual band, played a couple of their songs, and I'm like, okay, this is who I was looking for.
It's always annoying when there's artists like that, like especially back in the day, when like major label record companies would force bands to be like renamed. Like the example I always jump to is that the Britpop band Suede. In America, you generally won't find Suede albums as Suede. You'll find them as the London Suede. Because some shitty lounge singer in the 80s called themselves Suede.
Wow.
And the American record company was apparently like, no, we gotta honor the lounge singer. But yeah, I really liked Momentary Bliss too.
Every minute of it. Like, this is a fun fucking track.
This is the closest Gorillaz have come to recapturing like the Demon Days sound.
See, yeah, I would even say that first album, man. Like, God, it really hits on, like, especially like the track Punk from the first album. Like,
yeah, well, I was thinking like with the Demon Days, it's like how you have an opening bit that's like kind of chill and
synthy, and then
it goes into this crazy ska bit.
Yeah, really cool ass ska bit, and it's so fucking fun. I like the farty synths at the beginning, and whoever the rapper guy is, he works on the track, and then when Slaves come in and they're singing the chorus. And then I like how 2D comes in and he sings bits of it. Like, I don't know, it's one of the freshest ass Gorillaz songs I've heard in ages.
Yeah, Slow Thigh is the rapper.
One of the freshest ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that both, Desolate and Momentary Bliss, and honestly, I'm gonna throw in Strange Times and the Backtrack too. That's like some of the strongest Gorillaz I've heard since Plastic Beach, honestly. But yeah, cannot recommend this Momentary Bliss highly enough.
Yeah, the shit is fucking fun, and made me be like, I need to check out Slaves, and then I found some garbage, but then I found some good Slaves.
And then you found some actually somewhat decent stuff.
Yeah. And so that ends the album proper, but then we've got 6 more tracks that, to me, if you're going to get the deluxe, you're missing out on tons of fucking shit.
Is there even a standard edition of this album?
There is. It's got a blue cover. I think the ones we have is pink.
See, I didn't even see. I think I said this to you the other day. I didn't even see the standard edition when I was ordering this. But it's just as well.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's a deluxe edition with 1 extra track,
yeah,
I'm like,
it's like
I'll still get it for the extra track, but I understand other people $2-3 extra dollars for maybe some cooler packaging and one extra song, you know, you're not missing out on much. But this is 6 fucking songs. This is half a fucking album of material on disc 2. And to me, if you're not getting the deluxe version, you're missing out on what? Maybe
6
half
tracks.
Yeah, you're missing out on the full experience. Kind of like with fucking Humans, where it's like it's a bloated ass mess, but get the fucking deluxe one. I mean, even so, there's like what 10 more tracks if you get the deluxe fucking vinyl version. 10 extra tracks that I haven't even heard, you know.
Oh God, yeah.
But I ain't dropping no $200
No, I am.
on some fucking vinyl.
Well, it's not even vinyl. It's that it's Humans. I don't like Humans enough to drop $200 on it. Even if I had that sort of money to throw at vinyl.
Right.
Like. Oh. So what did you think of the bonus tracks?
I actually like every minute of the second disc.
I mostly liked them too.
There's almost some more different sounding stuff on here. Like Opium is featuring Earth Gang is very much like a house track. I really dig it. Simplicity with Joan as policewoman. I went and checked her out, and she's got some pretty good ass shit too. And I dig Simplicity. And Severed. Yeah, go ahead.
I dig. You know, the first minute of Opium, I really liked because it was reminding me of oh God, what is that song on? I think it's Faust on G-Sides.
Yeah.
Like the opening minute or so of Opium was reminding me of that.
But it is a little too long.
It is a little too long.
It's almost 7 fucking minutes.
Definitely. I just wonder if that's why it didn't make the main album.
And, yeah, so what do you think about Simplicity?
I liked that too.
Yeah, it's really short. Doesn't overstay its welcome.
And it has that, like, kind of, like, mildly exotic classical vibe.
Yeah.
That Damon Albarn likes to go for.
Yeah.
And then Severed Head, I didn't like as much, but it was still good.
Yeah, I like Severed Head mostly for the music. The music is really cool. And I went and checked out Unknown Mortal Orchestra, and they're decent. I dig them okay. But with Love to an Ex, I really dig. I went and checked out this Moonchild Sinelli girl, and I'm fucking all about it. I'm like, this chick is cool as hell.
Yeah, I really liked that track too. And then MLS, I was almost like, you know, I was almost like, I would have thought that would have been on the main album because JPEG Mafia is relatively big right now.
Really? I've never heard of him.
I mean, like, he's not, like, selling massive numbers of records, but, like, he's a semi-underground hip-hop dude who's making some waves at the moment.
Huh. But I dig that song, too. But I'm going to say, with Love to an Ex and MLS, like, they really doubled down on the N-word this time around. Because they, like, the first time I ever remember hearing it in a Gorillaz track was on Humans, and I was like, whoa,
Well, like we both said, like, I never thought I would turn on a Gorillaz album and hear, who was that?
God, I don't even remember that dude's name, man.
Was it Vince Staples?
That Shake That Ass?
I never thought I would turn on a Gorillaz album and hear Police Everywhere, like an N-word killed a white man.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like, and it fit, but it fit with humans, but like it was still like, whoa.
Given recent events, humans has some pretty ahead of its time shit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Like, I remember talking to somebody about that, and a friend of mine was like, Damon Albarn gets written, like, snob dudes have always sort of written off Damon Albarn because Damon Albarn really likes kitsch. And he likes kitsch so much that it can be hard to tell when he's wants you to take him seriously and when he doesn't, and I think that annoys like snob dudes and critic types who like a Radiohead where at least they think Tom York takes himself super seriously. Who knows whether he actually does or not?
Yeah.
But like it's still like you have to think like Damon Albarn had the presence of mind to be like, yeah, Donald Trump could definitely win the election when nobody else did.
Yeah.
Because wasn't that like his instructions to the performers, like, perform this as though Trump's won the election?
Yeah, and then they bleep out any reference of Trump, which is a good thing and sort of a bad thing.
Yeah, like I get that. I get why they did it.
Makes the album timeless, where it's not the Trump album, but at the same time it's like, well...
You definitely could have left this in and it would have been fine.
Yeah. But yeah, MLS is really good. And then How Far, featuring the late Tony Allen and Skepta, is really good too. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, Tony Allen, like you said, legend, amazing drummer, and I'm really glad, like, obviously, like, Tony Allen's on a ton of legendary stuff. Like, I believe he did a bunch of stuff with, God, I always forget how to say his name, Fela Kuti, back in the 70s. And was a huge figure in that whole Afrobeat scene. I was going to say, thankfully, like, they actually got him to do some drumming on that second Good, the Bad, and the Queen album.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, in hindsight, like, that's the one big complaint I have about the first The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, is, like, there's hardly any percussion on that whole album. And it's weird because it's a complaint I didn't know I had until I heard the second album.
Yeah, like, that second Good, the Bad, and the Queen, I mean, there's stuff I absolutely love on the first one, but the second one I almost like a little more.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about it, too. But yeah, no, this track with Tony Allen, let me pull it up again. How Far is great.
Yeah. And I like that they leave it at the very end, because they even said that they probably wouldn't even release the song on this version. And I'm glad they did, because it's like, it's like probably the last song the dude really worked on.
Certainly with Damon Albarn, yeah.
Yeah.
And Skepta is pretty good on here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with him. I know that's a name I've been hearing a lot. The UK hip-hop scene has really blown up in the last year or two. Like, maybe not internationally, but like, from what I understand, domestically, the UK hip-hop scene is really going places. which will be interesting to see how that affects the international hip-hop scene moving forward.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of those dudes cross over here, because it would be a breath of fresh air for some of the garbage that's been hitting the hip hop, mainstream hip hop over here for the last 20 years.
Like, I think the closest thing to UK hip hop that has really ever broken through in America is, I mean, first off, MIA.
Yeah.
And secondly, although calling him UK hip hop is cheating, since the man left the UK and hasn't really gone back that I can think of. MF Doom.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that he was born over there.
Yeah. Fucking love MF Doom, but he hasn't released a proper album in like 11 years.
Seriously, like I have got to pick up that album one of these days. Like,
Yeah, I got to get that one. I've only got the first one, and I've got the Mad Villain, and I've got Food or Food.
Man, MF Doom is one of those guys where I love MF Doom. I would probably never want to see MF Doom live, because like it is a toss up whether he will actually appear.
Yeah.
Or whether he'll send impersonators. Like I was watching some Demon Days live footage, where they supposedly brought on MF Doom, and I'm like, this is not MF Doom. this is what does he call them? Doom bots. This is one of his impersonator dudes.
That's all right. That's fucking hilarious. So,
I mean, it's amazing, and I have a lot of respect for MF Doom being so committed to being eccentric.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like it's kind of like Lauryn Hill or Morrissey, where it's like you buy the tickets, you're playing roulette as to whether they're even going to show up or not.
Yeah. But so I like the fact that, you know, it's Song Machine Season 1. So hopefully, I'm kind of cool with Gorillaz continuing on this way.
Yeah.
Because there's a little more spontaneity, it feels like, to the music, as opposed to, we gotta get in the studio, we have X amount of weeks to do X amount of songs, let's do it. I kind of like this, where it's like more free-flowing studio hangout time. We'll do whatever happens and fucking put it out. Like, I'm totally cool with that.
And the thing too is that like Gorillaz, it feels like Gorillaz over the last decade have kind of struggled to balance the music side of things with the we're a virtual band, y'all. Say hi to Murdoch, 2D, Noodles, and Russell side of the band. Like in the Plastic Beach era, they kind of went too far into this is all about the characters and the lore and whatnot. And then Humans kind of went too far in the opposite direction. Like, Humans was all about the guest artists, and like there was hardly anything to do with the actual like Gorillaz characters.
Yeah, it's funny that the Now gave us a bigger shakeup in the lore than Humans did.
Yeah. Because turns out that Powerpuff Girls is canon within the Gorillaz universe.
Yeah, man. And Ace is balding, man.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So, final thoughts on the Song Machine project.
I liked it a lot. Like I said, to me, it is a major step above the last two Gorillaz albums. I don't think I like it as much as Plastic Beach, and I'll tell you why. Plastic Beach had, and Demon Days very much also, Plastic Beach had an epicness to it.
Yeah.
And a sense of like, this is something huge, this is something that matters, that this one does not have. And to be fair, I don't know whether it's just that Gorillaz were coming off of Demon Days, like one of the incredibly popular, good, did well financially, you know, and they were still relatively jacked into the pop culture, whereas, you know, Gorillaz in 2020 are, you know, yeah, the Damon Albarn throws in some, like, modern stuff, like, he kind of does the retro 80s thing here, and they throw in some big names who are popular now, but it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like, I was going to say something about that new Fleet Foxes yesterday that I forgot. You know, it's strangely unmoored from 2020. Like, this almost could have come out any other year of the last 5 years. Or this could easily have been Humans. Like, we could have easily gotten this instead of Humans. Like, that's kind of how it feels to me, and it's weird. But like I said, he's definitely my favorite out of the albums they have released after, actually not just the last three, because the Fall is good, but like this is better than the Fall. Yeah, the Fall, forgettable as fuck. Yeah, like I hate to say it, but it really is. So what are your final thoughts, Travis?
My final thoughts, very, very similar to yours. Probably my favorite since Plastic Beach. Because like I've said before, I love Plastic Beach, but it took me a long time to fucking love Plastic Beach. And this is probably, at least for me, the best one. Because there's a lot of shit on Humans that I love. But there's a lot of stuff on Humans where I'm like, I'm fucking over it. The Now, I love the Now, but it's another one that, you know, I'm kind of forgetting, man. Like, fucking shit. But Humans I'll turn on and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this song, this shit is bad as fuck. And then, oh yeah, I remember this is bad as fuck. But this one, it feels more genuine to me. Like, it feels more like the heart's in it again. It feels more like, you know, not like, oh man, I guess we need to get together and do a Gorillaz thing. This feels more like, hey man, I got a cool ass idea for some new Gorillaz shit. Let's see if it works.
That's a really good way to put it.
And to me, it worked pretty fucking well. There's more spontaneity, the more free-flowing, no time limit, no, it doesn't feel like there's a label over their head. It doesn't feel like there's a massive amount of hype behind any of it, because fucking Humans, hype like a motherfucker. Plastic Beach, hype like a motherfucker. And so this album, it doesn't feel like it was trying to live up to anything. Whereas, you know, like, the Now was an apology. Like, here, if you hated 2D, not being on Humans, here's all the fucking 2D you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this just feels like, I got a cool ass idea, let's see if it works. And, you know, so the only real hype was, oh shit, let's see what the next video is going to be. Let's see what the next collaboration is going to be. The way they would tease the collabs on their Instagram and on the YouTube and stuff. And then they've got the little gorilla bites in between videos and stuff. It just feels a lot more genuine, and there's like a renewed creativity on this album, and like I said, it doesn't feel like it needs to live up to anything. Like, it's not supposed to be better than Demon Days, or it's not supposed to be bigger than Plastic Beach. It just feels like a genuine ass Gorillaz album. Like, it doesn't feel like an apology. It doesn't feel like The Fall, where it's kind of like, oh, I just bought an iPad and I diddled around a little bit and said, hey, here's a Gorillaz album. You know, and it doesn't feel like it has anything profound to say, like with Humans. Humans was supposed to be, oh man, this is the fucking apocalypse. We're having a party for the fucking apocalypse. You know, this album doesn't feel like it has the need to say anything. This album is just supposed to be a fun fucking album. And to me, it achieved that. With the exception of ruining Elton John, you know, or ruining the song that Elton John is on, because Elton John's still good on the song, but I can't listen to the song because I know that fucking garbage is on it. But the rest of it is pretty fucking good shit.
Well, it's like, you know, this feels like, and this occurred to me when you were talking about Humans. This is the first Damon Albarn project, and I've heard, other than that new Good, the Bad, and the Queen, or, well, new being almost 2 years old, this is like the first Damon Albarn project I've heard in a long time where he doesn't sound burned out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when you get to his solo album, that his one solo album he dropped back in 2014, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about even more, because he sounds really burned out on that one. I was not super surprised. Once I heard that solo album, I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, the last two Gorillaz albums make way more sense now. Like, both Humans and the Now Now have this vibe of, like, he's just burned out on Gorillaz, but, like, he has to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Especially since they talked about retiring Gorillaz during the Plastic Beach era.
Yeah, like, Jamie was sick of drawing them, and, you know, I get it. I totally get it. But that's also with label pressure, interview pressure. Like, this feels more like we're doing it on our terms.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, you get you feel like there's more excitement for them to get in there and do some of these songs.
Yeah. So how do you rate this album?
It could be a 10. And, you know, it's funny. I think I was throwing 10s around with Humans. Humans has dropped down to like a 7 for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This would be a 10 if it wasn't for wasting St. Vincent, throwing that awful 6-lack shit on there. I mean, because it renders a song completely unlistenable for me. And that, if anything, that's a feat that I think I've never had with any Gorillaz song. You know, like, I've never been like, this fucking sucks. And that's the first time I think I can be like, this song fucking sucks.
See, I disagree, because there's some stuff on Humans where I kind of said that.
See, I can totally get it.
Oh, actually, no, that's not even correct. That's not even correct. The Snoop Dogg intro on Plastic Beach.
Yeah.
Is the other time I've been like, this sucks.
Yeah, and what's sad is, like, for me, Snoop Dogg sucks so bad on that track, but the rest of it is so fucking good that I can excuse Snoop Dogg's bullshit laziness. But on here, it's like the music isn't all that redeemable. Elton John is fine, but this guy brings the annoyance level way up. I'd rather hear Snoop Dogg on the laziest ass day than fucking this guy any fucking time. You know, like, fuck.
Well, Snoop Dogg at least would have been like the Pink Phantom, Elton John, y'all.
Yeah, he'd have been like Gorillaz in the Know with Elton John.
Yeah.
Gorillaz and Rocket Man.
Oh man.
So,
I'm gonna go a little lower than you.
but this album is a 9 for me.
I'm gonna go maybe a little lower. I'm gonna go for an 8.5.
8.5. I can get down with that.
Because it's like I said, it's the best Gorillaz I've heard in a long, long time. But it's not. It needs that little extra something that those first 3 albums had, and it doesn't. It doesn't have that for me. You know.
True.
Still highly respectable though. And I have this gives me high hopes for Song Machine Season 2 whenever that happens.
Yeah, and then just yesterday there was the announcement that Netflix is doing a Gorillaz series.
Oh shit! They've been talking about that for decades now.
Yeah, seriously, and I hope they do it right. I hope they do it good. I mean, because
yeah.
I liked the little short Gorilla Bite cartoons they made for the first album's phase, and I'd always been like, this could really work as a little series, you know, give us some 10-minute shorts or something, and so maybe that's finally gonna happen, because even when Humans came out, there was an announcement, a Gorillaz series is happening, but then there was nothing else talked about.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so now there's the Netflix announcement, and I'm all for it if it happens. I'm totally here for it.
Oh yeah, like it's just wild that it might actually be finally happening, you know?
Yeah, a good 20 years, just about.
Yeah.
After
they did drop that first. I think it was the first single.
Yeah, Tomorrow Comes Today.
In like late 2000, so.
Yeah.
The project is officially listed as having started in, I think, 98 or 99.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't really do anything with it until 2000.
Oh yeah. But yeah, definitely hyped for the possible season 2. Hope this renewed creativity happens. I would hope for still release those tracks recorded for fucking Plastic Beach that never made the light of day. I want to hear what the Horrors did for that goddamn album. The only bit you hear of it is in the DVD that came with the deluxe Plastic Beach.
I'm amazed we've never gotten like B-sides.
Yeah.
Like,
would love it.
That's really interesting to me that stuff has never seen the light of day. I'm kind of surprised it didn't just come out after Plastic Beach.
Yeah, instead of the fall.
Although that makes me wonder if maybe they didn't have that many outtakes.
Yeah, very well could be. Because then when you look at their more released, their more recently released stuff, I feel like Humans was released with every outtake.
Yeah, Humans definitely feels like it was released with every outtake.
And even this, like, you know, probably, because I could feel that the second disc has a lot more outakey kind of stuff. Because I like all the songs on the second disc, but some of them don't have as much of an impact as some of them on the first disc. But then there's a couple on the first disc where I'm like, this could be on disc 2, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
For instance, fucking Six Lack. That's really the worst thing. That's just the worst thing about this album.
Yeah.
And I cannot shut up about it. But what's funny though is Zach was telling me that auto-tune is all over this album. And I'm like,
it really isn't.
I'm like, well, there's those 2 tracks. And then on The Valley of the Pagans with Beck, 2D's kind of using that robot voice thing that you hear.
Filter that Damon Albarn likes to use.
Yeah, and to me, like, that robot voice isn't necessarily, like, annoying auto-tune for me. Like, it's just, it fits that electro-funk vibe. You hear that in shit from the 80s and, you know, late 70s and stuff, you know? Hell, it's on a lot of Daft Punk shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Daft Punk have used that a lot.
Like, I think the worst auto-tune I've heard on Daft Punk would be on that Celebrate song.
Is that one of the ones on Discovery?
Yeah.
Excuse me. See, I can take the Daft Punk with auto-tune.
Because
they're robots.
Yeah, it fits. It's totally fine.
Like, you know, Daft Punk, if anybody knows how to use vocal effects, it's Daft Punk.
Yeah.
But now, when you told me that, like, David and Zach both said they hated it, I wasn't super surprised because, like, I listened to this, and I kind of figured, like, this album has a lot of stuff that I know neither Zach or David really like.
Yeah, see, I like, you know, they listen to different kinds of stuff. I'm a Gorillaz fanboy, so.
And honestly, like, there was like, we were saying, like, talking about, like, the stuff you hated. There were some tracks when I was listening to it yesterday, I was like, damn, I wonder what Travis is gonna think of this. And, like, you actually surprised me because, like, you only really hated those 2 tracks. Or no, you only really hated the Elton John track.
Yeah. So, like, it sucks that, like, we got 2 Elton John collabs this year, and both songs suck.
Yeah, it's like both kind of botched. Like, that's weird. Like, Lady Gaga and Gorillaz.
Yeah.
Man, if you told me 10 years ago that somebody was going to collaborate with both Lady Gaga and Gorillaz in the same year, I don't know if I would have believed you.
What's funny is 10 years ago, I could be like, if somebody told me Elton John would be on a Lady Gaga track, I'd believe it. I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. And then, but at the same time, if you told me Elton John would have been on a Gorillaz track, I would have not believed it, but I would have wanted it. You know, like, I'm like, that would make so much sense.
Yeah.
And damn it, they fucked it up. Thanks a lot, Six Lack.
6 Lack.
Fucking.
That just reminds me of that great cutaway gag in one of your earlier. Again, it was one of those 13 badass albums. Go listen to some Kadollar's Har, Deadmau 5.
Oh yeah, goddamn Kim. What's so funny is I knew when he had sent me that clip, I knew what he was meaning by Deadmau 5. But I had no idea what he was talking about with Kadollar's Ha. And I'm like, what the... Because I knew Kesha. And I knew the $sign in her name. But I thought he was actually saying the name of a band. Like, Kadollar's Ha is the name of some shitty band. And it took me a long time. I think it was Zach that was like, "That's Kesha," and I was like, "Oh, Kadollar, okay, like with Marilyn Manson and Pretty Like a Dollar Sign."
Yeah.
Have you heard that yet? The new Marilyn Manson?
I have not.
I made the joke yesterday because I haven't listened to it since we did the review, but I absolutely loved every minute of it. But now I'm like, on camera, I loved it. Because I haven't had the desire to really jam it. But if you're looking for an interesting, different Marilyn Manson album, it's up your alley.
Man, one of these days, I still need to get Heaven Upside Down, too.
Man, there is some interesting stuff happening on that album, but it is very beneath stuff that I'm just not into anymore.
Heaven Upside Down, to me, is like, I did finally listen to the whole thing. It's like I have such mixed feelings on it, because, like, then and now, I'm disappointed that he didn't, like, continue with the Pale Emperor shit. But I can look at it and I can say, out of the 3 or so times he has now tried to do Hollywood 2, Electric Boogaloo, Heaven Upside Down is the most successful.
Yeah.
Because, like, that, I listened to all his stuff earlier this year. And I realized that, like, that's the problem I've had with Hollywood. Like, when you did that retro with what was it, Alex Edwards?
Yeah.
Three or so years ago, and you were saying that Hollywood has kind of like, you've kind of like soured on it.
Yeah.
I felt that, and I realized when I listened to all those albums this year that, like, the reason for that is because every Marilyn Manson album after Eat Me, Drink Me has tried to be Hollywood so hard.
It did, man, and, like, it sucks because there's a handful of stuff that I really do like on High and Low, and even on Heaven Upside Down, but at least none of them are as forgettable as Born Villain. Like, to me, the worst Marilyn Manson album.
Yes, absolutely.
Only thing I ever remember from Born Villain is that how he uses the fret noise as part of the riff, as the musical note, which I was like, that's fucking interesting. Because that's not an accident, since you're constantly using it in that riff. I'm like, that is you specifically doing that. Because you hear the fret noise go down and then up in between the fucking chords every time. If you're gonna get accidental fret noise, it happens when you're switching your chords. But you're not gonna get a straight up zoop zoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, that's so cool. What a cool fucking idea to fucking do that. But that's the only positive thing I can say about that album.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I have it. I've listened to it maybe once in the last 8 years.
It's like you're using something that should be edited out with Pro Tools as part of your fucking musical notes.
But at the same time, it's like you were so wild and so crazy in the 90s and so, like, experimental at a certain phase of your career, and now you've literally been reduced to using, like, fret noise as an effect.
Yeah. The dude's just tame as fuck nowadays.
He doesn't know what to do with himself because he doesn't scare people anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody is afraid of Marilyn Manson in 2020.
Yeah, like, and I've noticed that when I was a kid, like, the last time people were really afraid of him was when Hollywood was dropping, and then when Golden Age came out, there was a little bit of talk, but that was the first time I was like, nobody's saying anything here about Marilyn Manson. And then when Eat Me, Drink Me came out, it was like nobody gave a fuck anymore.
Well, like even like as early as like the golden age of grotesque, people were starting to make fun of Manson for the fact that nobody was afraid of him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, Gorillaz album's damn good.
Yeah, highly recommend it. If you're a Gorillaz fanboy, you're gonna like it. If you're somebody new to it, you know, I'm sure you've heard some of these tracks, but I mean, you could start here and be fine, but you know, I'd still say go chronological. And maybe skip Humans and come to this. Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
So, 8.5 and a 9.
Yup.
Totally fucking worth it. So, we'll see you guys next time on Speaker Brains.
Bye.
Later.